Okay, welcome everyone. This is your last boot camp. Are you excited?
Yes.
Okay, as we are heading into, this is going to be CD6 of the boot camp, and we are going to be talking about closing the skincare class and overcoming objections of the skincare class. Something I was thinking about, though, as I've gone through the different training with you, is that we've been using the flip chart and referencing page numbers. And, people may be using this training material a year from now or 2 years from now, that the flip chart page numbers may be different. And so I want you to know that the things that we've taught at the boot camp aren't dependent on that page of the flip chart. They are the things that we talked about, like deal or no deal, the name game, things that you do during the flip chart. You just want to figure out, like your before, your now, your after story, the 4-point recruiting plan. As the materials change, your verbiage doesn't really change, just where you place it, what page number it's on may change. So in that really is, one of the biggest things I'm hoping that you're walking away from the boot camp with, is that these are the core skills that don't change, and once you own them, they're set. Like booking. We talked about having booking dialogues with people that you do see on a regular basis and people that you may never see again, with customers. So to have different set booking dialogues, but once you have your booking dialogue that you use with the customer, you don't really need other ones unless you decide to add in something seasonal. Like you may have seen an email that came out today about the Have a Mary Kay staycation, which is popular in this economy in this summer. So, you may add on something like that, but, how you get your leads, the 5 different avenues of getting leads, that doesn't change. In your skincare class, how you get names from your customers doesn't need to change. How you get your bookings from your bookings doesn't need to change. Products may change, and they're going to change. They're going to continue to evolve, but the company does a really good job making that gradual and making it make sense and giving you forewarning on it. But there's some set things that don't change. So some of the things I was jotting down that, I think will remain the same: coaching the hostess and pre-profiling the guest. I don't really do that any differently now than I did it 23 years ago. You may be talking about a little different hostess program, but I don't give the hostess any different dialogue than I used to. And pre-profiling, I still have the same conversations with people. The deal or no deals. That is a method of getting bookings from bookings. If you don't use that, how do you get bookings from your bookings? Whatever that is, you could start that now and use that your whole career. Having leads come in from 5 avenues, the top 3 being non-negotiable. Remember how you get leads from your everyday life, your bookings from your bookings, and the names at your appointments. The 4-point recruiting plan, that doesn't change. Has not changed. I still do the 4-point recruiting plan exactly the same. Closing with the roll-up bag and the individual close, again, what I share with you tonight on closing, this is how I close my classes to do Queen's Court of Sales as a consultant. It's how I've taught my units and now my national area to close. So products have changed, the placemats may change, the set prices and names may change, but the roll-up bag close doesn't change. Not doing full color at the skincare class. Using the flip chart at your class. Whatever the flip chart is. Sticking with the company skincare class as closely as you possibly can. Versus the goal being, we started off at boot camp saying, the goal is not to start off using your flip chart and getting to the point where you don't need it anymore. The point is getting more comfortable with that tool so it's an extension of who you are, but still reading it even beyond when you need to read it so that your recruiting doesn't decrease when people think, well, gosh, I could never do that. I could never have that all memorized. So the goal is not to memorize the flip chart or to do a skincare class without it. The goal is to have it be an extension and be comfortable with using that. And then the consistency or repetitiveness, whether you pick Perfect Starts Monthly or Power Starts Monthly, to pick a number of faces monthly that you're going to use this information with, that's not going to change as a necessity to master this information. So all the information that you've heard, if you don't pick a consistent amount of activity to do over a 12-month time period, you're probably never going to own it. It's never going to serve the purpose for which you have invested this time into boot camp. The thing I like about this, though, is that most businesses, especially with how technology is changing so rapidly, most businesses, I mean, you have to be on your A game 24/7 all the time because technology is changing your job description constantly. You know, technology, science, anytime that you're in anything that has to do with computers or science, it is changing so fast that what you used to do last week could totally be changed in a week or 2 weeks. And your job's dependent on that. What I love with our business is that the core skills that your job is really dependent on have not changed much for 45 years. And when we have changed, we have come right back to how Mary Kay started it. Because what I am sharing with you and have shared with you during the boot camp training is very traditional Mary Kay, Daleen White, Debbie Moore skincare class training, basing your business on the skincare class. But I have loved knowing that if I was willing to invest at the front end of my business into these skills, and you know, we did touch on, it's not a 1-month process. I think that we set consultants up to be very frustrated and disillusioned quickly if they think that after their first power start they're going to be a masterful consultant and own all this, and now they're ready to move on and become a director and share this information with other people. You can become a director after a couple months, but you're still going to be working on these skills until you own them enough to be able to pass them on. We've already talked about that in previous sessions. But I like that if I spent, you know, a year, 2 years doing enough activity, you know, 12 consecutive power starts, or if you want to do perfect start level, 24 consecutive perfect starts, that once you own it, this part of the business, the hardest part of the business is done. Done. Then the only thing that you have to change to increase your income is what? Number of new faces. That's what you have to change. And then that allows you the luxury to invest time into leadership training, or like DISC, personality training, or equipping yourself to be a better trainer of trainers, transferring these skills to other people, or as a director, you know, success meetings, or, you know, doing different pacesetter classes, different things, you know, working on team building skills, overcoming objections, explaining inventory, those type of things. But can you see how if you don't have the foundation built, that all those other things are built on a foundation that's going to crumble? And so it's kind of a waste of time because you're going to have to go back and build the foundation again. You're better off to build it in the beginning, you know, and then add everything onto a business that is going to go nowhere except up. Mary Kay businesses that are built on the mastering booking, coaching, selling, and recruiting stand the test of time. All economies, all parts of the country. I've seen that myself. You know, I look back at this business, worked as effectively in Douglas, Arizona, through skincare classes, a town of 9,000, half not speaking English, as it did at a resort golf island in southeastern Georgia, where the people pretty much moved there because they wanted to be on vacation and not work. And then to a metropolitan area in Detroit. Has worked as effectively in 23 years. Our economy has gone up and down. I mean, right now everyone goes, this is the worst it's been, but then, you know, in 91 and 92 they said it's the worst it's been, and then in 86 they said it's the worst it's been. And so we'll go back through another economy in 10 years or so from now and it'll say it's the worst it's been, because they're always different. But a Mary Kay business based on booking, coaching, selling, and recruiting, it stands the test of time. So the time that you're investing into these skills is going to pay off. And then it's your choice on when you want to increase your income. You know, it's not the economy's choice. It's not an employer's choice. It's not, you know, it's based on solely how many faces are you willing to put the products on. So you get to decide how long it's going to take to build the foundation and how strong the foundation is. That's your choice. But I believe that the skills that I was taught and have purposely mastered, that's something too. I'm hoping that you've caught on from this, that this isn't a haphazard process. I purposely had to say, okay, I'm going to figure this out. Just like you have to say, I'm going to figure this out. Like, I'm going to figure out what's the, weak link. Are you not getting bookings from bookings? So what do you have to change to get bookings from bookings? Do you not have enough leads to get the appointments scheduled, to hold the appointments that you need? If that's the weak link, then you have to go through, the lead training again and figure that out. But that just doesn't happen. And as an entrepreneur, you don't have the luxury of saying, well, I don't have enough appointments on my books or not enough things held. I mean, you're not a victim. We're really living in a society where people are very used to being victims. Like, I don't have a job. I can't do anything about it because of the economy, or my employer laid me off. And so that has become acceptable. Like, there's nothing we can do about it. There is something you can do about it in this. You are never at a place in your business where you can't do anything about it. And to some people, that may be distasteful because it's a lot easier to say, I can't do anything about it. I don't like the situation I'm at. I don't like, financially where, this economy or this company's choices has put me and my family, but I can't do anything about it. In Mary Kay, you're not a victim, ever again. And you guys, I hope you embrace that. I really think this business attracts women that even if you've kind of fallen into that somewhere down the line, that's not who you are. That is not who you are, and that is unacceptable to you. And that you want to be able to say, you know what, that's one of the things that I hold dear about this, is that if I need to change mine or my family's financial situation, I can do it through my business by putting the products on more faces, because through those new faces you increase your sales and you increase your recruiting. It increases your business. So, the skills that I've taught and purposely mastered, which I'm encouraging you guys to purposely, think about and master, so that when other ideas, I had a conversation today with Ann here and talking about all the ideas that you guys get. We started off boot camp talking about all the ideas that you get on your email, all the ideas you get on UnitNet, all the ideas, and you're probably like, yeah, you're the one that sends them to me. I'm not going to stop sending them to you, because I'm sending them out to 800 plus people in hopes that there's one of them that someone will use out there, because it's different for everyone. But you guys know what you want to do with your business now, so you have to be the gate of the information now that you take in regards to the booking, coaching, selling, and recruiting. Does that make sense? And so if something has nothing to do with supporting what your next best step is in this process of becoming a master consultant, then you can delete it or you can save it for later. Because there's a lot of information that I save and pass on that I'm not personally going to use myself, but I'll pass it on because I know there's other consultants that that's appropriate for what their goals are and what they want to do in their business. And that's going to be true of you too. You could save that for a team member that needs that idea, but it may not be appropriate for you because you're halfway into your 6 consecutive power starts and you're staying focused on this course of doing this for 12 months. And on the other side, you could be a Cadillac director on the other side of it. You could have 100, 200 customers on the other side of it. You could have been a star consultant. You could be in Queen's Court of Sales. You're going to pick. You're going to be skilled, but you're also going to have reached goals, because remember we talked about tracking the activity and picking a goal while you're owning this and learning it. But really the only solid foundation for Mary Kay business that stands the test of time and economies is what I've just shared with you. And I have been in, long enough and have 5 years now as a national sales director that I finally feel like it's clear. Like the picture is really, really clear. And this is it. If you will master and invest the time into mastering these things, whether you want to be paid as a consultant or as a director, you can have whatever you want in Mary Kay Cosmetics. But that's no different than what Mary Kay Ash taught us. When Mary Kay taught me and Daleen White taught me, it was all about 5 classes a week. And 5 classes a week. They, seriously, us talking about 30 faces or even 15 a week, you wouldn't even want to hear what Daleen had to say about it. People would walk out of the room when Daleen White would talk and go, ooh, that was really uncomfortable. She stepped all over my toes. Because Mary Kay wanted women to make money. She wanted women to be able to pay their bills with this. But she always paid her bills doing her direct selling business. And so she did not understand, people not, but she was not going out warm booking every day. She wasn't building through C leads. She was, not building through events. She was building the business through skincare classes, which is where we want to get all of your businesses to. Agreed? Okay, let's go into our final session of the boot camp, which is going to be closing the class. And for closing the skincare class, there's some props that you probably want to make use of. One may be a closing placemat. Those are on my website. We update those as new products come in. The placemat that we use, the purpose of the closing placemat is that it gives people a few more choices than the beauty book, and it also has the medium price point being the Ultimate Miracle Set at $189. I've retained a couple pieces of information from my marketing degree and my psychology degree. Not many for 4 years of college, but a couple of them. And one of them I do remember from psychology is that people will pick usually the middle. Whatever the middle choice is, that's the most common thing they'll pick. So if the middle choice is $189, then that becomes the most common set versus in the beauty book, it has the middle choice as the Miracle Set, the $101. Okay? So we are making use of that information and putting out there. If people still want to do 101, they're going to do 101. But if they want to do the Ultimate Miracle Set, or give them a choice of above. Because people probably aren't just going to come up with stuff on their own like, oh yeah, well I don't want any of these choices on there. I'd like $400 worth of stuff. So I could get, the roll-up leg plus blah, blah, blah. They're just not going to do that. They're going to pick from the choices that you give them. So the placemat is handy because it kind of raises the bar on what is available to them. I believe that you should have a roll-up bag that you demonstrate from. I also encourage you to have a roll-up bag for each guest. And this is something that I have taught back in the day. We used to have complete collection display trays. And those of you who were, in Mary Kay or at classes, it was this clear plastic tray that all the products had a little bin that they'd set up in, and then we had this clear plastic carrying case, and everything would fall over as you're driving. You're trying not to take corners fast or drive real slow because everything was falling over, and you'd have all these, cases that, big, cumbersome, but people loved it. And we were taught you take one for every person. I remember Cheryl Steinman, who's just a master at marketing, talking about she'd put them in the back bedroom and have a balloon attached from each one. And after she'd get done with the class, she'd go, okay, everyone before they'd pick their set, she'd go, everyone gets to go in the bedroom, there's a surprise for you. They'd bring their complete collection with the balloon and come to the table, and then she'd tell them how the products come. So, the roll-up bag is just a little bit easier way to transport your products, and that's how I take my products to my class. You have your roll-up bag. I would put a purple ribbon on the ones who are combination to oily, a pink ribbon on the ones who are normal to dry, and if you have 6 people going to be at a class, you'd have your demonstrator roll-up bag plus 6. And the things that I put in the roller bag, they're generic, so you don't have to, it's really an easy way to carry inventory. Look at the sets that are featured on your placemat and in your beauty book. You have your skincare minus foundation. You have your satin hands and satin lips. You have your eye set. You have your compact empty. I don't put stuff in the compact. And did I miss anything? Microderm. So those are the most commonly sold sets. And so you have one of those for each person, and we're going to go over how to use that. We talked about this at preparing for the skincare class, but having a price sheet, reading a price sheet, prior to going to your classes, so you're familiar with what stuff is. And if you can't see the price sheet because you're getting to be a more interesting age and your eyes aren't working like they used to, and the glasses see one way and then not the other way, blow it up. Take it to the copying place, blow it up, laminate it so you have your price sheet that you can easily find stuff on. Change your ProPay setup with Mary Kay, a calculator, sales tickets, profile cards, beauty books. Okay? So those are your props. Now let's go to page, in your flip chart, page 16. It's page 16 right now. And on page 16, it's saying, let's turn to page 18 in your beauty book for a look at some of the most popular and essential Mary Kay product sets. So in closing the class, you're either going to read page 16 or you're going to go over the placemat. You're going to do one or the other. You don't do both because that's going to be confusing and repetitive. So if you're reading the back of the flip chart, it just says, as you look over these products, pick the sets you'd like to take home if money were no object. When we get together individually, I'll tell you how you can earn some of these products free. Isn't that a great idea? First, let's talk about the Ultimate Miracle Set. It includes the Miracle Set we tried today. Okay, you guys are getting the point. I'm just reading through. It's giving you the option of the Ultimate Miracle Set, the Miracle Set, the Time-Wise Basic Set, and the Satin Hands Pampering Set. Okay? So they're pulling out, they're looking at, that page 18 of their beauty book. So this is what you do if you're not using the placemat. If you're using a placemat, then what you want to do is after when you get to page 16, maybe you want to tape the placemat onto the back of it. But basically, you're going to tell them how the products come according to what the placemat says. Actually, at the beginning of page 16, they've been seeing you work out of the roll-up bag. That's the point right there that you'd want to, I would have like the roll-up bag underneath their chair, because what I found is if it's hanging somewhere that they can get to it, they start going through it and asking what prices are and how this works, and it's just distracting. So I would have it maybe tucked under their chair or, tucked under somewhere, and then maybe you have their, name. You can put labels on it that could easily peel off after the class so that you could just pass it out so that they can actually unroll their roll-up bag while you're reading this page, the flip chart, or while you're holding your roll-up bag and going over the placemat close. Having a roll-up bag there for each person, it increases your sales dramatically. And you guys just think about it. If people, at car dealerships, they let you drive cars that cost a lot more than $189. They let you drive them because they know that that'll increase the likelihood that you'll purchase it. They let you walk through houses. They let you try on clothes. If having possession, touching it and feeling it and having it there wasn't so important in the process of the sale and making a decision, that wouldn't happen in stuff that's even far more expensive than what we're selling. And because Mary Kay lets us have inventory, most direct selling companies can't. You're always an order taker. Because we can have products, if you don't have enough products to have those roll-up bags, I want you, as you're going through and doing your power starts to get skilled, I want you to be building your inventory up so that you have roll-up bags to give out at every appointment. Because I've had consultants that will have $1,800 classes. Because just like, remember we were talking about deal or no deal, as soon as someone takes the deal, then generally, group behavior is the other people take the deal. As soon as someone comes walking in with the roll-up bag, you're like, oh, I'll have the roll-up bag too. Also too, having a roll-up bag for everyone there, it gives the perception that it's common. It's not exclusive. It's not, think of the stores that you go to and you look in the store and there's like just a few things in the rack. Not a store that's getting ready to go out of business, but just a really expensive boutique where they have like one thing in every size. You know it's going to be expensive. You know when you look at the price tag it's going to be expensive. Whereas when you look at racks at stores that stuff's crammed in and there's a lot of it, don't you expect it to be less expensive? So having more roll-up bags there makes it seem that, oh, it's not a big deal to have a roll-up bag. Everyone here could have a roll-up bag. It's not that big of a deal. Whereas, oh, just the presenter gets a roll-up bag, and that's like the ultimate thing, because if you can't have other roll-up bags there, it's like super valuable. It's like a piece of jewelry behind glass that you can't touch. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, I will have consultants that they'll listen, and they fight me on this. Why? Because it messes up your inventory? Seriously, like mess it up and sell it. That's what you're supposed to be doing. It's not supposed to be neat in your closet at home. It's supposed to be leaving and making you 50% profit. And it has to get to the appointment somehow. So you're going to keep it in the case and bring it into the party and take it home too? That's not the point either. Let's get it out there and give you the best possible chance of selling it. And that's having the roll-up bag there. And if they don't want the whole roll-up bag, you simply pull out their skincare, their day-night, their eye cream. There's their ultimate, well, if they get the ultimate miracle set, then they get their roll-up bag as their gift. But then they just take out the stuff they didn't want. Maybe they didn't get the compact. Maybe they didn't get the satin set. Pull that stuff out, put it in a tote bag. You take it home, load up the next roll-up bag. Or if they didn't get $189 or more, put it in tissue at your closing. That's something I didn't mention. I would have, you can go to the dollar store, or it may even be cheaper online, because sometimes dollar stores are actually more expensive than what you pay in other places. We just think they're inexpensive because they're dollar stores. So I would shop around for tissue that you can get and cut it in a half. And if you want to, I used to spray mine, but there's a lot of people that are fragrance sensitive, and so I don't want to mess with that anymore. And so I will not spray the tissue, but have the tissue there, so if they don't buy enough to take the products home in the roll-up bag, you put the product in the tissue, wrap it up, and put it into a Mary Kay bag. And the tissue is just a nice touch. It's more like, we used to have Jacobson's here, or if you go to Victoria's Secret, they wrap everything up and they make it seem like it's a gift. Whereas, when you go to Meijer's and you're buying your underwear, they're throwing it in with your milk. But if you go to Victoria's Secret, they're wrapping it up. Well, they're charging you 10 times more, so they should wrap it up. But it's a gift. It's a different feel, isn't it? It's a different experience. So having that tissue there, it's inexpensive, and it changes, the Mary Kay thrown in a plastic bag versus a Mary Kay in the tissue. Totally changes the whole experience for them and their image of it in your business. So you have a roll-up bag for each person there, regardless if you're going to do the flip chart, page 16 close, or you're going to explain how the products come on the placemat. With the placemat, they vary, but basically it's going to have the same things. And as you're talking about the sets with the roll-up bag, can I borrow your roll-up bag? So as you're talking about the sets with the, oh my gosh, I don't have enough hands. The roll-up bag you want to be showing them the products. So if you have the skincare, this is, your moisturizer that we talked about. Remember, in the morning, you're going to wash your face with your 3-in-1 cleanser. And then you're going to use your moisturizer as soon as you get done, and then your foundation. And you pull out the foundation. This is your basic, your time-wise skincare system. Remember how we talked about the day-night solution, what it does? So in the morning, and you guys know, you go through and you recap what you just did, physically touching the products in front of them, and telling them, how the products come. And you start at the top. Did you notice on the flip chart that it started off with the Ultimate Miracle set, with the top set? When you're going through any sort of closing sheet, you start with the top set. So on the top set on our placemat right now, it has the Ultimate Miracle set. And it helps if you put them on the right way so they don't, sorry, I'm ruining your roll-up bag, you see. But the Ultimate Miracle set plus 2 sets. So maybe you'd want the Ultimate Miracle set plus your custom compact plus your satin hands and satin lips. So that would be the Ultimate plus 2. And that normally is, and right on the placemat it says it's like a $383 value. You guys don't jot that number down. Whatever it says on the placemat is the correct number. And you're going to get that for, $2.99 tonight plus your roll-up bag. So they're getting $1 savings. The dollars are added up to be what the products are, plus the roll-up bag has a $40 retail value. So that's added into the total cost of what this would cost and then what you're getting it for. And the next is your Miracle set, which we talked about. That is your 3-in-1 cleanser, moisturizer, your day and night, your foundation, your eye cream, That's $189, and you get your roll-up bag. And this roll-up bag, do you guys love the roll-up bag? It's sitting on your lap. Isn't it nice? It's so great. This has this little swivel, allows it to turn easily. These are great because even if people don't have a lot of room on their counter, they can put these in the back of their bathroom door. So they don't have their makeup out on the counter space. The zippers are on top, so that's handy, so stuff is not falling out like you just saw it do. They Velcro on and off, so if you're on vacation, sunscreen's in one, you want to take this down to the pool or take in the other room to do your makeup. It's handy. It just rolls up. And we used to say you could roll it up and hop on an airplane and you're ready to go. Well, now this is far too much liquid to hop on an airplane. So please don't try to hop on an airplane with this because you will need another roll-up bag. But this can be packed easily and you have everything there right with you. And this is not something that we sell. It is just a gift with purchase. Okay, so on your placemat you can see the different sets. Off to the right you see the optional sets that you could add on. Does anyone have any questions about how the products come? Okay, so whether you're doing page 16, reading that, or you're having the roll-up bag, going through that with people on their laps and with the placemat, one or the other. And then on page 17, it's walking through the closet clothes. And so that's telling them, now I'd like everyone to close their eyes. I want you to imagine you're going into your closet to find a special outfit you wore for a special occasion. Think of all the accessories, etc. You guys have read this. Okay, let's put the price into perspective. Okay, that's why skincare is the best investment we can make in our looks. Okay, at this point in time, they have their roll-up bag on their lap. They've, gone through either that page of the beauty book that has the set options on it, or you've gone through the placemat with them. And it says, I've enjoyed being here today. I hope you've had fun. I would really value your opinions about the great Mary Kay products you've tried, so please take a few minutes to answer the questions in the back of your customer profile. Then we'll meet for your individual consultation to customize a skincare program for you. Does anyone have to leave early? So you take the person to close that has to leave early. If there's no one that has to leave early, then take the person that you like the best, that was the most excited, that, said, oh my gosh, I have to have this roll-up bag. It's kind of like deal or no deal. You don't pick the person to ask first for the deal. It was like, I'm not doing the deal. That's not the first person you ask. Just same thing with the products. Whoever was the most excited about them and is talking about the products. Let's start with you, whoever you're taking to that other section that we've already talked about. You've pre-decided with your hostess. Bring your beauty book and your customer profile. We'll be back in a minute. And then this is when the hostess can serve her snacks. At that point in time, you're done with your flip chart. Okay? You're going to go and sit down with her. You have her profile card. She has her beauty book. And these are the questions that you're going to ask her. You're going to go back. Remember when we pre-profiled her? We asked her what she wanted to learn about her skin that night? So I always jot that down in her profile card. If she said, oh, I really need to know about, controlling oil, or I really need to know about whatever it was that she was concerned about. So you go back, and actually the first question I say is that, yeah, that's it. Did you, learn about blank? That you wanted to learn about your skin. So whatever it was that she mentioned, if you didn't have a pre-profiling conversation, you can skip number 1, because obviously you didn't know what she most wanted to learn about her skin. Number 2, are you set with your foundation color and your formula? Because what I have found is if people are not set with their foundation color and formula, they're not going to buy skincare at all because they're just unhappy with it. And if they're not happy with it, you want to try and resolve it verbally versus getting, oh, let's match you up with different things. I mean, if they say, oh, I think it's a little light, just say, great, let's just go 1 shade darker. They don't know what 1 shade means. I mean, 1 shade could be, if she was at a 200, it may mean you go 202 or 204, or maybe a 300. You can make, that decision. If you say, oh, well, I'm not sure if it's a 202 or 204, what do you think? She has no idea. You may not even have any idea. So, just say, okay, do you think you need to go a little bit darker or lighter? Okay, great. We'll just go a little bit darker or lighter, and then when you start using it, if it's not working out, then we're going to exchange it anyways, because foundation, sometimes you're doing classes at night in people's houses, it's dark, they get into the daylight, and It's totally, off anyways from what they needed. Or she may want mineral powder instead of liquid. Just ask her, are you happy with your foundation? Do you like, the shade? Do you like how it feels? If she's great, then you're fine. Okay. And then, which set is best for you? That's your third question. The fourth thing you're going to do is rebook her. And if she wants to book or not with a class because she's taken the deal or no deal. If you're just rebooking a facial, then that you may want to, if you haven't passed your book around during the class like they suggest, if you're booking them at the individual consultations, actually that's a little easier because then if they've taken a class, you can have times highlighted in your date book that are class times. And if people just want to do a checkup facial, those are great people to invite to the training center, to an event, or maybe to your house all on Saturday morning so you can invite 5 or 6 of them all at the same time. Because to do a checkup facial across town at 7 o'clock at night when you only have set amount of times to do skincare classes may not be your best use of time. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And it's your business, so you get to pick. You offer her, okay, for checkup facials, these are the times I'm available. For a class, these are the times I'm available. You get to pick. It's not their choice. So which set's best for you? You rebook. And then the fifth thing is you pick the 2 people, 1 or 2 that you want to give recruiting information to. We talked about that in the 4-part recruiting plan at length. I want to go back to number 3 where it says which set is best for you. At this point in time, this is where consultants tend to just start talking. When you say which set is best for you, then you don't say anything else. And did you hear the question, which set is best for you? Not what do you want, what would you like, what can I get for you? It's which set is best for you. And then you say nothing else until they talk. And then you're responding to what they say. Let them just think about it. And, they're going to say something at some time, don't you agree? They're going to say something. And then let's go from the easiest scenario to, a more challenging scenario. So the easiest scenario is, well, I want the Ultimate Miracle set. Okay, excellent, great. So I take her profile card and I, on the back of it, the bottom left, I write down Ultimate Miracle set. I've already written down her foundation on her profile card. And then I'll say, okay, so that includes, your time-wise skincare, your day and night, and your microdermabrasion and eye cream, right? An Ultimate Miracle set. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to detail some of the other products we talked about tonight, or you tried, and I want you to tell me, do you want those on your wish list, or you never want them, or there's something you want to add on now? And so I start to go through satin hands. Is that something you'd like now or later? Satin lips, now or later? We talked about, just go through oil for eye makeup remover, now or later. Go through all the different products you touched on, because in different classes you touch on different things, don't you? Depending on what the people said they wanted to learn and the clientele that were there. And so what you end up with is a wish list on the right-hand side of her profile card, because then when you run a special or a promotion or you have a goal to meet, those people, if she has a wish list long, she's a great person to call when, you need to do a $125 for $99 special or something. Or you want to call, she said on her card it would be great to call my husband, for anniversaries or, Christmas gifts, or, call my daughter. If you have a wish list, you know exactly what they want. Also, too, people have forgotten all the things that they've tried, so they'll end up adding more stuff onto there. And so she may end up adding on a couple more sets, even though the things may not be sets. If, let's say the least expensive set on the placemat is $45, then that means if she added on $90 worth of stuff plus an ultimate set, she's basically at the very top set, isn't she? So I would give her that price if it's less than what her ultimate plus all that stuff added up would be. Does that make sense? So a set can be grouped together, anything that's $45 when the people are making the sets. Because what that shows her is that you're looking out for her best interest. You're trying to help her get the best deal that she can. So then I detail on the profile card, I'll write on her sales ticket, just ultimate plus. I don't have to detail on the sales ticket necessarily. What I found is if I detailed on the sales ticket and then I never got around to detailing it on their profile card, unless you stapled that sales ticket to their profile card when they reordered, you may not know what they had last ordered, and you think you're going to remember, but you just don't. And can you imagine if you're doing 30 faces a month at the end of a year, that's a lot of faces. I don't think we should be expected to have to remember that much information. So I know that if it's not going to be written somewhere, I would like it not written on the sales ticket. Because if the sales ticket falls off of that profile card, or if it ends up attached to a weekly summary sheet for bookkeeping reasons, I still have on her profile card what she uses. Okay? So, and then you say MasterCard, Visa, Discover, obviously that's the, you pull out the stuff from her roll-up bag that she doesn't want, you put the stuff in, great. Will you send, oh, we didn't rebook. So you have to, if she's taken deal, great, you took the deal on the back of your card, you jotted down the names and numbers of the people that you'd like to have at your class. These are the times that are available. And you open up your date book and you have it pre-highlighted, and you may want to highlight pink for the times that are for classes, and then blue for the times that are for individual appointments. And the blue could be times that you're at the training center, again, however you want to do that. Let her write in there, her name, when she's going to have her class, because there's something about her owning that by her writing in that. Mary Kay always taught us, pass your date book, around and let them write in the date book themselves. So you rebook the class. Obviously, if she's going to be a hostess, you give her the hostess packet that you have handy there. And then the 4-part recruiting plan we pulled apart last week, talking about how you pick out the couple people and what you say to them. Okay? So that's done. Then you have the next person come in. So let's say the next person is a little bit more challenging. She doesn't say, oh, I'll take the Ultimate Miracle Set and I'll add on, la, la, la. So some of the other things that she could say, which set's best for you? Okay, well, I think I'd like satin hands. Gosh, I like that satin lips a lot. So I'll do the satin set, and the oil-free eye makeup remover. So you add it up, and what does that cost? Satin set plus
$62.
$62. So when you are going into closing the class, the most important thing you could sell to your customers is what?
Skincare.
Skincare. And why is that? Why is that the most important thing? It's your repeat business. It's the bread and butter of your business. But also, too, it's what's best for her. It's a win-win. Because if you are letting her leave believing that buying the satin hands and satin lips and the oil-free eye is as important to her skincare as the skincare is, then we're selling stuff, but we're not skincare consultants. Okay? And you guys have heard me talk about, dentists who will talk about lumineers or bleaching, but they're not really emphasizing the brushing and flossing. They're selling teeth stuff, that industry, but they're not necessarily looking out for the preventative health care of that person, first and foremost. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So, your goal at an individual consultation is to get that person on skincare. That's the goal. But can you see how if you don't know that that's the goal, then your goal may just be to have as many sales as you can, or your first few classes, it may just be to sell whatever they want because you're just happy that they bought something. But the real goal is to sell and get people on skincare. So if people are not buying skincare, whether they bought other stuff and it's as much or more, or sometimes they'll say, well, I'm not, if they say they're getting other stuff, I'll say, well, share with me why you didn't pick the skincare instead. And I'll have them tell me, why didn't you get the skincare? If they pick less expensive things, like maybe they took satin hands or just satin lips, they'll say, oh, I can't afford it right now. To them, I would say, Tracy, I'm not going to ask you to spend more money now, but what I am going to ask is to reposition how you're spending that money. So you were going to spend $30 on the satin hands. What if we take that same $30 and apply it towards your skincare tonight? The difference is going to be $24 plus the tax. Post-date that to your class or your checkup facial. And if by the time we get there, you would honestly prefer having the satin hands versus the skincare, I'll rip up the second check, give you that satin hand set, take the skincare back. But if you realize that really that is benefiting you and you're enjoying it, then let's get that skincare for you for free or as a discount. Would you be willing to do that?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay. Probably 80% of the time, people will do that. I've had very few people not do that if it's for money reasons. Sometimes they may say, well, I just got brand X. I just got a bunch of stuff, and so I want to let that run out. And so I would say, okay, Teresa, share with me, how long have you had that other product? When you say you just got it, what does that mean?
1 week.
A week ago, okay. Something, I'm not suggesting this, but some people don't know, you can return that. You know, just like you can return stuff to Mary Kay, you can return that, you know, whether it's to an individual or if it's to a store. So that may be an option if this something is that you do like better. Since it's just a week old, and I would say, is that something that you would consider?
Yeah.
To start the Mary Kay? Okay, great. So why don't we do this? Do you want to get your skincare tonight and post-date the check? Would you be returning that in the next week? So you could post-date a check for a week, so you'll have the money back from that to cover the check. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay, or if you want to do it on a debit card, I'll take your debit card number, but I won't run it through until you tell me that you've returned that. Would that be okay?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. If she says, well, no, I'm just going to use it up. Just say, okay, let's make a deal. I'll buy it from you. I will give you haven't had it that long, so I'll give you 30% discount on your Mary Kay, and you give me that product back. Would you be willing to do that?
Absolutely.
Okay. Buy it from her. Take less of a sale on your skincare to get it out of her hands immediately. Because there are, that's the second scenario. The third would be, no, I don't want to do that. Then I'd say, okay, how long do you think that's going to last? And then she'll tell you, la, la, la. Then you write it down on her profile card and just say, okay, it's going to run out, you think, because stuff doesn't last as long as Mary Kay. Mary Kay lasts far longer. So you'll be surprised that the stuff does not last that long that the people use from other lines. So you say that this is going to run out like the third week of August. So could I call you like the middle of August so that we can get it in your hands, so as soon as that runs out, you can start using this, knowing that if you end up liking that better, you can go back to brand X and I'll take this product back. Would that be okay to call you then? Okay? So that's 3 different scenarios if people are using other products. Can you see how, though, that's a totally different focus than just saying, okay, whatever. But a lot of people will let you reposition, even if they were going to spend more. Why didn't you get the skincare? Well, I'm not really sure if I'd use it. Okay. Let me suggest this to you. The satin hands and satin lips, don't you agree? That is not going to, make a difference in how you look 20 years from now. A little bit on your lips and hands, but really, your facial skin, it's not going to make a dramatic difference. So why don't we, it's actually less money, so I'm asking you to spend less money, and start with your skincare. And then when you do your class, we can get that other for you free. Or if really you want that more and aren't using your skincare, but what I want you to do, Teresa, is you have to use it for the next week. You can't have it sit on your shelf and look at it and say, I'm not using it. I want you to use it for a week and then tell me if it's worth continuing to use it. Because don't you agree, if you get benefits from something, you're willing to continue to do it? People, when they don't continue, it's because they don't get benefits from it. And that's because people are usually using a little of this brand, a little bit of that brand. They don't get benefits, and so they're not brand loyal and they don't keep using it. But if you use it for a week, I'm going to give this to you to use, and then you're spending less money. I'm going to save this at your class. You can get this for free. But give it a shot because it is going to have more impact on how your skin looks than that satin hands and satin lips. I guarantee you. I want to see if that's worth it to you. Would you be willing to try that? I mean, most people aren't going to say, oh yeah, well thanks for helping me spend less money. I mean, most people aren't going to argue with that. But you're better off to make $6 less or $12 less and have them on skincare, because satin hands and satin lips, they may reorder sometime, but they're not going to reorder it every 3 months or 4 months like they do skincare. And those customers may buy it from someone else, somewhere else, but skincare customers stick with their consultants. Can you think of any other objections that you may hear when you say which set's best for you, or when you're going through the closing part, like something that stumps you that you want to hear me tackle? Yes.
Mm-hmm. What if they have no interest in the skincare, but only in the color? Because I've had people that just, they don't could care less what I said during the class. They just want this one eyeshadow or this.
Had they tried it? Because at a class, they're not using eyeshadow or color.
No.
They're just
thinking that, oh, they come to a Mary Kay party, it's makeup, and I need blue eyeshadow.
Okay. Is it someone you've pre-profiled?
No.
Okay. Those are the situations that we do get into when we don't pre-profile, because then they're coming for a party situation to buy something. And so when people come to buy something, they've already pre-decided in their mind, well, I just have to get something, so a least expensive thing is an eyeshadow or a mascara. It's, pretty inexpensive and something that most people use. So that scenario you will run into far more when you haven't pre-profiled. And then I'm not sure there's much you can do about it. You hope that maybe she takes a deal and then, or wants an advanced color appointment to learn how to use color, so you're going to get to sit down with her and really start to build a relationship with her and find out what she wants to do to take care of her skin. But when you pre-profile someone and you've asked them, if she says, well, I really want to learn how to use blue eyeshadow, or I really want mascara, just say, you know what, great, I can service you with that, but at the skincare class, we're going to teach you, all the current new tips and trends and skincare in the anti-aging market. So as far as your skin goes, what's your greatest concern right now? So you've gotten her focus on to taking care of her skin versus coming to purchase an item. Because once people decide what they're coming to and then we change it there, people don't like change very well, and some people that just does not go well with them. So depending on, if they're like dug in and like that's all I want, then great, that's what they're going to get, and you hope you'll have another opportunity to sit back down with them. But closing a class, you get better at it with every class that you do, because once that happens, you go, okay, I didn't really like that so well. So what do I do to fix someone saying, I just want an eyeshadow or a blush or a mascara? Well, it starts with, closing the class starts at pre-profiling. And then it starts with, using the flip chart and staying focused on skincare and not doing color. And then it is the individual consultation. You guys, individual consultations are so important because, asking people to make these decisions in front of their sister-in-law and their mother and their neighbor, people don't make their buying decisions like that at the mall when they're buying their stuff, or at Rite Aid. So you set yourself up for, again, if the first person says, I'll take a roll-up bag and a table, then everyone could say they want one. But if you have someone say, I have to ask my husband, then everyone has to ask their husband. Even if someone normally doesn't even ask their husband anything. Everyone has to ask their husband. Or I couldn't afford it, so I can't afford it too. I can't afford it is like a pack mentality too. And you go, why can't you afford it? I mean, they still have the same jobs. Nothing's really changed. They just spent $300 on a purse that they carried in. I can't afford it. Well, what do you mean you can't afford a $54 skincare set? I mean, but everyone else says I can't afford it. So right now it's very easy and popular to say, I can't afford it. So individual consultations are really important too. And then every time that you get done with the class, and you go, like I never like to have to overcome objections, so I tried to overcome as many of them during the class as possible. Talking about how the skincare is meant to work together like a recipe. I add into the flip chart when you're talking about skincare, because, cosmetics are chemicals. And if you, mix and match, you can have an adverse reaction, which I don't want to be responsible for. Or you just don't get results, which is what most commonly happens. How many of you have drawers full of cosmetics that you hardly ever use? Because you don't get results from them, because you use a mishmash of this, because you got a great black bag with this, you got a little gift with purchase with this, you got this when you went to Myers, and you got this when you went to Rite Aid. And so you have this mishmash of different stuff. So you don't get results, so you're not brand loyal. One of the reasons that Mary Kay has the most brand loyal customers in the cosmetic industry is because we encourage you to start with the skincare set. And I don't tell people, this at the skincare classes, but when I started Mary Kay, we signed on our contract that we would not break up the basic skincare. Legally, we can't do that anymore because someone will sue us for something. But I would love for us to still have that in our mind that you can't break up the skincare set. Because I think that one of the reasons we're number one is that we don't just give you a cleanser or a moisturizer and a foundation and use it with whatever you want and don't emphasize. If someone really wants to do that, there's nothing that you can do about it. But I almost want to say, don't tell anyone that you're using Mary Kay. Because if you ever met anyone and they go, oh, I use brand X, and you go, really? And you go like, oh, geez, you really need to try Mary Kay because your skin looks horrible. You don't say that to them, but that's what you're thinking. But then when you find out what they're just using the foundation or just the bar or just the toner. They're not cleansing, exfoliating, toning, moisture balancing, protecting from that line. They're using one or two things from that line, and they say that that's what they're using, and then they're out there telling people, I use that brand. That's really bad advertising. I mean, I don't want people with not Mary Kay skin on out there telling people, people can tell when people have Mary Kay skin, can't they?
Yes.
And that is what continues to, help our businesses grow. But you get better and better at closing, obviously, like with the whole skincare class, by doing it. But after you do a closing, stuff like that, Tony, when there's someone like, how could I fix that? If you can't figure out how to fix it in the pre-communication of the pre-profiling or during the class, that's where you pick up the phone and call your director. And say, okay, this is what, happened at this class. What do I need to do? She may say, that's just a weird circumstance. I mean, there may be nothing that you can do about that. Or she may be able to say, like I just did, okay, let's go back to the pre-profiling conversation. I think that could be changed up here in this communication. Does that make sense?
Definitely.
Okay. All right, you guys, so you've just done boot camp. You've just gone through you guys have done 8 weeks of boot camp. The CDs are 6 sessions. And like I said at the beginning of this, you now have access to all the skills necessary to grow your business. So the how-tos are not something that you're needing anymore. So you no longer can say, I don't know how to book, or I don't know how to get leads, or I don't know how to fill in the blank that has to do with booking, coaching, selling, and recruiting. You can say, I'm unwilling to do the activity to practice these and own these. You can say, I'm unwilling to re-listen to this information and revisit it, but you can't say, I don't know how to do it. Because when you say you don't know how to do something, that's allowing you to say, I'm a victim, I can't do anything about it, I don't know how. In other jobs, like, I don't know how is fine. I mean, it makes me crazy when my kids go, I don't know how. Like, ask the teacher. That's what they're there for. So now, you have the information from the teacher. You have all that. So now you can no longer say that. That may make some of you happy. That may make some of you sad. But now the only thing that is going to hold you back are your numbers, your target market that you work with, and your heart. Because no matter how good your skill gets, if you go into skincare classes and it's all about you versus all about them, it's still going to have a different result. That always, it never ceases to amaze me, but, God says he judges our heart, not what's on the outside. He doesn't judge people the way people judge people. And you can have a consultant that, looks the part, and even the words that come out are the part, but her heart's not in the right place. She's not truly going into that class saying, how can I help these women feel better about themselves? How can I help this woman use this opportunity to impact her life? Whereas you could have a consultant that has far less skill, that, looks the part far less because she's still in the process of getting, polished up and feeling comfortable with who she is and the products and the industry, but she has far better sales and far better recruiting results because the heart is there. She's really looking at meeting those women's needs through the product and opportunity. And women know that, don't we? Mm-hmm. We're intuitive. We know it. So, you have the skill set to look at, the numbers you guys know how to change, target market we've talked about, your heart, that's always the last thing on the list, because generally it's the numbers or the skill. So I wanted to leave you as we conclude with our boot camp, these 3 thoughts from Mary Kay. These came from the date book, but just 3 things that I thought were applicable to boot camp. 1, achieving success is a daily process. 2, remember that all your goals and all your desires are of no value unless you put them into action. And 3, never put off until tomorrow what you can do today.